Good evening, friends. How are you? People are showing up. Karen Hall here already, straight in. Welcome to this evening's, well, it's a weird one, to this evening's Danny Buckler show, but it's a bit of a combination of a Danny Buckler show and a Zen Time with Buckles. It's going to be very nice tonight. I'm going to talk to a very, very dear friend of mine about all sorts. I'm just looking, and there he is. He's ready to come straight in. Got a cracking guest tonight. Hey, Red Nussbaum. How are you? Kimberly, nice to see you too. I'm going to talk to, I'll do a quick introduction for you. He's a very dear friend of mine, a very beautiful man. I was very close friends with his father, and I'm hopefully very close friends with him. I shouldn't really say that. It's up for him to decide that. I don't want to project. But, yeah, and we're going to talk about all sorts. He's got his own blog now. He's writing, he's creating, he's teaching stuff. We're going to talk about that, what he's been up to. So it is a joy to bring this man to the Danny Buckler Show. Would you please put your hands together? I'm assuming that you're applauding this one. You don't put your hands together. You've got your phone in one hand. That would be ridiculous. Please welcome to the Danny Buckler Show this evening, Mr. Jake Russell, everybody. Just as soon as this thing starts working. Here we go. I'll try and get the thing timed right. Here it comes. Oof. There you go. Boom.
Hey, Danny.
Hello, mate. How are you? Let me adjust my set and I'll get this right one day. Oh, it's professional television. Let me get out the angle. There you go. Beautiful. How are you, man?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Welcome to the internet.
I know, it's brilliant.
Isn't it amazing? This is your first time doing one of these sort of things, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is. It's lovely to be on it with you. Thanks for having me on.
It's nice, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah.
You talk to your phone and the whole world listens. Or at least 13 of them anyway, in my case. I'm all...
The lucky 13.
Absolutely. So how's your day? How you been? How's your lockdown going?
It's been going all right. Ups and downs. I think most people are probably the same. Just sort of waves of ups and downs. But yeah, it's been going all right. It's just kind of making the best of it, I guess.
Yeah.
And doing, kind of prioritizing the stuff I want to be doing and sort of letting go of some of the stuff I don't really want to be doing and making it as sort of livable as possible.
Which you've been doing a stellar job of.
Say that again.
For those of you that don't know, Jake has a website, a blog, and all sorts going on. It's I'll plug it properly at the end, but it's called Cobb Salad.
It is, yeah, Cobb Salad. It's a bit of a joke. My brothers and I, we've got. I wish I hadn't just said this now. It's a bit embarrassing. We've got kind of silly names for each other, and mine, based on our real names, and mine is, they call me Cobb because my full name is Jacob. And about 2 years ago, I bought the URL for Cobb Salad, C-O-B Salad, I didn't really know why. And suddenly I thought, why not use it? And so here it is, Cobb Salad. And it's
destroyed all the mystery.
Huh?
I was trying, Cobb Salad, is that some sort of bizarre Taoist take on meaninglessness and all that? And is it? No, it's his childhood nickname.
Well, it is also absolutely a take on meaninglessness as well. But no, it's a at the moment, it's basically just what would you call it? A stage for a weekly piece of writing that I put up that also gets sent out on my dad's email list, and some videos that I've been doing to teach people, if they're up for it, a bit of movement, a bit of physical activity, a bit of exercise, and there'll be some developments on it as we go, but that's its function at the moment.
It's a thing of beauty. It's very clear, mate. Honestly, it is.
Thank you.
It's interesting. For those that don't know, I didn't mention this at the start, but obviously Jake is the son of Stephen Russell, who was one of my dearest friends in the world and wrote books under the name of the Barefoot Doctor. But what's beautiful about your stuff is it's just so clearly you.
Thank you.
If you know what I mean, it's obviously when you're reading it, you've got your own voice. You're not trying to be someone else. It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much.
And the movement stuff is knackering.
Have you been doing it?
Oh, have I been? Oh, mate, you should see me in here. Edo, poor twat. I've been all over, crawling around the floor and doing all that kind of capoeira.
So do you know about
banging down?
Do you know about Ido Portal then?
Oh God, yes, yeah.
How come?
Well, because of just through being interested in all that stuff and just seeing. I was caught onto him through the internet.
Mm.
I mean, obviously, I've not met him or done any of his workshops because I'm not much of a physical specimen. But
yes, you are.
But oh well, that's very kind of you to say. But we can all see who's got the looks on this feed. He's down glowing like a Greek god, and I've got the COVID jowls coming in. Look at that.
The beautiful COVID jowls. You wear them. You wear them beautifully. They wear you beautifully.
Thank you very much, sir. That's 10 weeks of loneliness and mint arrows.
Well, so yeah, I mean, before we leave Ido Portal, I just wanted to say that he is just for a bit of context. He has become one of my absolute heroes. Really, if you watch him move, he's just the most beautiful, masterful mover. And he brings in all sorts of different disciplines, all sorts of practices and forms into this kind of confluence of, there isn't any one sort of word for it other than kind of movement and locomotion. And he brings in elements of dance, contemporary dance and traditional dance and capoeira and martial arts and all sorts. And it's really just incredible to watch him. And I was actually meant to be in Boulder in Colorado training at a school that's part of his, what do you call it? The words completely left me, but it's part of his it's part of his training.
His movement thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But then the whole world kind of came to a grinding halt, so that wasn't happening. That didn't happen. But I wanted to ask you, how's yours going then? How's your lockdown going?
Down here, it's been all right. I've been doing this, Jake. I've been doing an awful lot of these. And I do different types of ones. I do ones where I just tell funny stories, and it's more like a comedy thing. I do. We're doing a little meditation group on here, which is quite nice. People come and we do that maybe once a week, and then I do chats like this with cool people. And you're the coolest, easily.
Thank you. How do you find it doing? If you're telling funny stories, essentially doing a form of stand-up, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? How are you finding it doing it without an actual physical audience in front of you? I know there are people watching, obviously, but surely it's not the same as having real people there.
Well, it's not. So I don't do jokes on here, or stand-up routines as one would do them in a comedy club. I tell stories, and because stories can be straight as well as funny, so it's a bit more of a theatrical thing, and it's more of a flowing thing, and it works better in this format, I think.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's changing me though, Jake. I'm going to be a different comedian when this is over.
Really? In what way?
Just more flowing, just more less gaggy and manic, I think, and a little more thoughtful. I think. I don't know yet. I'll tell you when I get out of here. But
what has this? Has it allowed you? Is it not allowed you? Is it sort of given you the opportunity to slow down and
yeah, and tune out the noise, because the business side of it stopped. And that can take away from the creative side of it, because I'm no longer thinking about impressing people anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because there's no one to impress apart from myself while this is going on.
Right.
I mean, in the business world, I mean, the people that run comedy, that this incense is getting a bit egregious. So put a bit of incense for some ambience and choke yourself out, Buckles. But
I thought he said insect. I thought that
insects. Mate. I put the nag shampoo on, didn't I? I thought this is going to get spiritual. We'll get a bit of spiritual smell going, get the atmosphere. And I appear to be sitting here and choking on.
What's it called again? That's what Dad used to. That's what he used to have.
Your dad turned me on to get one. There was a shop just down from the mansions.
Yeah, in West Hampstead.
And he would buy it in bulk. But this is the Golden Masala brand.
No Champa, that's what you said. No Champa. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I heard that for years.
But the one that your dad used to love, it was that was a thick. You could smell it when you went to the house.
Yeah.
You get to that staircase at the top, you could smell it from the park.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful flat that was.
That and everything else. Yeah, that was quite a time. Yeah. Yeah.
So what led you to that movement stuff?
What did lead me to it? At the beginning of last year, I decided I wanted to start some martial arts. I used to play quite a lot of football, I love football, and then I kept hurting my ankles and just my back, and I was just hurting myself. And I've always enjoyed keeping fit and being pretty active, and so I went and I actually lived in France for a year when I was 22, and I became friends with a group of rugby players, these French guys that played rugby league, and they were these monsters, absolute monsters, and they started taking me to the gym, and I got really into that. And then the beginning of last year, realized that I had just been really messing up my body by doing that. But I was just tightening myself up, and it all just felt a little bit empty as well, like just surface level. And so I started training with a martial arts sensei in a martial art called Budokan, which is a combination of stand-up striking and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And as part of the strength and conditioning for those, for the actual fighting part component, they train in calisthenics, which is body weight strength and conditioning, and mobility and locomotions, animal movements. So like getting around the floor on your hands and knees, and kind of a bit like like flowing water. It's almost like swimming on the floor, basically. And it just looks absolutely incredible. It's like you watch these people do it, and they are a different sort of species. And so I got into that and just started, actually, I really fell in love with, I enjoyed the fighting bit, but I'm not really much of a fighter. But I really enjoyed all the other bits, and I just got really, really into it. Just got completely hooked. So that's where that came from. And it's a completely different type of, I kind of hesitate to use the word exercise with it, because I mean, obviously it is exercise, but like exercise has got a bit of a negative connotation sometimes, I feel like. And movement, when you're using just your body and you're experimenting with like how to get from one point to the other and how to be as light on your limbs and nimble, and it's more playful and explorative and experimental, and you work up a sweat and you get into decent shape, but it's just a little bit less self-punishing, I find, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the tiny bit. Obviously, I've been learning off your videos basically, so
nice.
That's my own experience of it. But the stuff I can manage to do, because I can barely touch my toes, I absolutely love. Daisy says hi, by the way. I've got one eye on the questions feed.
Daisy Jane.
Daisy Jane.
Hey, Daisy Jane.
Hey, Daisy Jane. So some really cool people. There are some cool people from back in the day, actually, in the chat. Very quickly, before we carry on, if you've got any questions, we'll do that at the end. I've got one eye on the feed, so if you've got any questions, do ask them. But if I don't answer, we'll get to them at the end of the chat. We'll do like 15 minutes at the end or something.
Yeah, nice.
Otherwise, it's just distracting. You end up sort of doing this through the whole thing. But no, yeah, I've loved doing it. And obviously, I do Tai Chi as well.
Do you?
Well, your dad taught me.
Oh, nice.
So he taught me Tai Chi, Zhongyi, and Baogua.
Ah, the circular.
The walking in circles one, yeah, which I really like doing.
Nice.
And I'm like you. I've done a bit of boxing and a bit of kung fu, but I've never liked fighting. I've never enjoyed it, but I do like the feeling of, flowing around and
and getting out your. Do you find you get out your head for a bit? You just
absolutely
all that.
Absolutely, and I've been doing this movement practice that I got from I learned off John Sturck. You know John? Yeah,
I think he used to teach my mum yoga.
Yeah, and your dad. Yeah, he's in The Man Who Drove Home. He was at the memorial. He's in the
Was he there?
Yeah, lovely man, lovely man, brilliant teacher as well. But he teaches a very, very gentle, flowing movement thing.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what you call it, but it's wonderful.
Was it like a qigong type thing?
Yeah, but he wrote a book about it called The Original Body. That's well worth checking out.
Oh, okay.
But it's really soft. It's really, really soft. I mean, you're never going to get a sweat up doing it or, get abs, but you don't feel blissful afterwards. He did a workshop this afternoon that I was on.
Oh, really?
On the Zoom.
Oh, nice. But that's the thing as well. I don't think it's that... Obviously, I think health is undeniably important, right? And I think it's, especially at the moment, like whatever you can do to try and be a little bit healthier, it's got to be a good thing. And part of that definitely is exercise. But I also think that doing it just for a six pack or whatever. I mean, that's nice to have, but like, it's not the to have that mindset. I think is it can be really harmful. And just to, instead of that, just to start moving about and fucking around and just having a bit of a play and moving your body in different types of patterns than you're used to. I think it's really beneficial. It's just a really good way to spend a bit of time rather than sitting at a desk or going to the gym and lifting weights repetitively. I think it's just a nice way to center and settle and like just kind of get back in touch with your body. I think we're so I didn't really mean to go off on
no, this is cool, man.
But I think, like, I know, just I'm speaking from my own personal experience. I've for so long, and this is actually one of the big reasons why I got into it. Actually, is I felt really disembodied, really kind of cut off. Like I felt like I just existed from here on up, and like even my voice, I still have it now, but more so. I felt like my voice like began here rather than from down here.
I can relate. Yeah, please, I can relate to this. Yeah.
And I just felt like I was living completely here, and the rest of me was this sort of different entity that I was kind of punishing. I was punishing by going to the gym and like drilling it with reps and sets and calorie restricted diets and all that shit. And it was like a different part of me. And then through doing this movement where the focus is on unifying your breath and your mind and your body, and so you're coordinated and aligned, it can become quite a meditative practice as well. Even when it is strength based. Like I train with my older brother Joe a few times a week. It's one of the best things that's actually come out of the lockdown. Is we go to the park near his house and we've been hanging some gymnastics rings over a branch of a tree, and we've been doing pull-ups, and it's strenuous stuff. But when you get into even with that, you can get out of your head and actually just start to really get into your breath. You can anchor yourself back into your body through your breath, and it becomes a different experience than just lifting your own body weight for the sake of getting some muscles. And that's what I really love about it. It's the opportunity to go a little bit deeper with things.
Absolutely. No, I'm with you 100%. I mean, I loathed my body for the longest time.
You did?
Oh, like you wouldn't believe. I wasn't disconnected from it. I just actively hated it. And like yourself, I felt like I started from, my voice was always, I had a lot of constriction in my throat. I still have actually a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
Up round here for reasons that I won't go into. But I had an awful lot of, and my voice gets very high when I get up. When I get annoyed, I get this. I like to think I sound like Bricktop from Snatch, but I actually sound like Liberace. Do you know what I mean? In my head, it's kind of like, I'm going to sort this out. But what's actually happening is like, ooh, everything goes up. Yeah. And I used to hate exercise. I'd go into exercise for about 3 weeks of weights and all that, and then stop and never do it again. And then never anything consistent. And then getting into like Tai Chi and Qigong as well. I'm a massive Qigong fan. And then this animal flow stuff that, and again, I'm not just saying it because you're here. I'm genuinely learning off your videos because they're the best I've found. I tried to learn off some other people on YouTube. I couldn't quite get it. But your stuff's beautiful because you build the foundation and then you add the layers. It's not just because I was like a prat. I'm going straight in. I'm watching Ido Portal and I'm out in the garden.
And he makes it look so easy, doesn't he? That's the thing. You think you can do it, and it's like, well, yeah. So that you feeling cut off or restricted in your voice, is that part of the reason why you decided to perform, get up in front of people on a stage and actually have to use your voice?
I don't know if it's what made me decide to do that, but working with my voice is the main thing at the moment because it's going to be a lifetime's work, I suspect, but trying to get this to open up, because the more this opens up, the more me I become on stage. Yeah. And the more this tightens up, the less me I am. And it used to get, if I got echoed, my voice would literally go up 3 octaves and it would come out, everything would come out wrong. And now I don't care if I get echoed. I just go with whatever's happening. If I don't even write material, I just will go on and open my mouth lately. It's been quite interesting. more this opens up, the more I could do that. Yeah.
Wow, that must be amazing.
I'm trying. I mean, I've got friends that are masterful at that. Ross Noble's the best I've ever seen at it. Just walking on and opening his mouth, and then whatever comes out comes out.
And just trusting that it's not going to just descend into nonsense.
Me and him had a long chat about it once. We were at the back of where were we? We were gigging together. I opened for him. It was in Oxford, and then I watched him. I'd never seen anything like it. It was just like he wasn't a man; he was a channel. He just walked on stage and opened his. It was like he was. You know, there was no jokes, and it was just hilarious. And we had a really long chat about it. And he described it to me as caring enough not to care. Is how he described it. You've got to care enough not to care.
Was he making a conscious effort? He was.
Yeah, it was always his thing to just be able to do that, and yeah, he kind of gets into this. I don't know how he does it, but he kind of has this ability to. Some of it's prepared. He has things in his head. You know, there is some preparedness. It's not completely spontaneous, but he just goes with what is, and he doesn't censor himself. And
yeah,
he doesn't care what happens. And it's that weird thing when you genuinely don't care what happens, the art tends to come out right. You know, if you've got a plan, it doesn't come out right. If you've got a blank canvas in front of you and it's got to look a certain way when you're finished, you're going to hurt yourself. But if you can just go with the canvas and go with what wants to be expressed, then you come up with stuff like Picasso. You know, it's making sense.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder if that's that kind of going in the sort of a bit of a strict preconceived idea of what you want is actually just to do with your own vanity and your own ego, or just some kind of egoic compulsion or motivation, and then that and following that is probably, I imagine, a pretty good way to not get what you want, to not end up in the place you want, because you're getting in the way of yourself. Not you personally, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to it. You can see comedians that are thinking, I want to get this, so I'm going to talk about the things I think people want to hear about that will lead me to get this.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to going, I've got this inside and it wants to come out. I don't care about where I get with it. I just care about it coming out.
Yeah.
And the first half of more than the first half of my career, I want to be rich. I want to be this. I want to be that. And I'm going to do the things that I think are going to get me that. And I failed because it wasn't real. It wasn't true. And now I just speak from here. And I'm off outcomes now. Whatever happens, happens. And sure enough, good things are happening. As soon as I started doing that, started working for Disney, didn't plan that, it just happened. Started traveling around the world, started doing...
But surely there's something to be said for putting in the graft as well. You know,
you still got to do you still got to put in the yards.
Yeah.
But it's not just like waking up and going, right, you've got to do something, but it's just that getting off that. It's doing it for the sake of doing it rather than doing it to get something else, because all there is what is. Yes. And whatever else happens is going to happen in this moment. All there is this moment.
Yeah.
And once you start splitting yourself off and projecting parts of yourself into a future that don't exist, there's not enough of you left here now to do what needs to be done.
Yes, exactly. It's funny. It's exactly the same with anything. So it's not a coincidence. But I mean, it's exactly how I feel about some of the movement stuff, which is more of the kind of the skills based stuff, the acrobatic stuff, like hand balancing. You know, if I'm only thinking about getting into a handstand, I won't get into a handstand. I'll fall. But if I focus on the moment by moment bits that I have to focus on in order to get me into a handstand, as I'm going through those moments, I'll get into a handstand. And so so you can drop that destination, because you know you're going. It's like when you get into the car, you know where you're going to go, so you can then stop thinking about it. Because if all you thought about was the destination, you'd crash, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be concentrating then on where you're going. And I think it's the same thing with anything, isn't it? Like you've got the destination, so you can kind of almost just forget about it. Trust yourself that you're going to go there if you just stay present in each and every moment and breathe and do the thing you're meant to do.
It's a superpower, that, in a way.
Yeah.
I had an experience this week. Funnily enough, it was 2 days ago. I was driving with the housemate. We were coming back from McDonald's had just reopened up the road here, and she fancied one, so I drove her up to get one, and I had one myself. And I'll get me. Oh yeah, she fancied it, not me. I'm too cool for that. But she, oh, you never see me in a McDonald's. But we went and got a Big Mac and thing. Anyway, we're coming back, and it was just nutters on the road everywhere. But this guy pulled out in front of me, and I ended up the other side of him, and it was fine. And she just said to me, I've never seen anyone drive like that before in my life. It was like you just knew what, and I had nothing to do with it, if you know what I mean. It happened, whatever I did to get around him, round and down the thing, and I'm out at the curb, but a car crash was avoided and no one got hurt. And it just happened. And I didn't do anything. I didn't think about what I was doing. It wasn't like I was, the Dukes of Hazzard, here we, it was just, and what was the point of this story? Thought wasn't involved. It was just what was happening then.
Yeah.
And afterwards, but no, that happened to me about 4 years ago. There'd have been a car crash. God, I've been in my head thinking, hysterical, tense, locked, and it would have been a disaster. But because I've been with this lockdown, getting deeper and deeper into my own practices and my own things, I was able to just, and it all worked out. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I've lost myself down a rabbit hole here.
Do you practice Tai Chi or some kind of movement every day?
I'm not going to lie, not like you do. I mean, I try my best, but it's always a wheezy, clunky affair. But I do a lot of free-form stuff now. Like I do a Tai Chi, but I do the forms that your dad taught me, but I also do just moving, just kind of going with what is. And
yeah, nice.
Dance, if you like, but no one sees me do it. It looks ridiculous. And then this very gentle yoga stuff that I do. It's all very gentle, though. It's very kind. I've always been very nasty to my body over the years, and now I'm kind to it. I don't judge it, and I don't try and... I can't touch my toes, but that's no longer an issue. I used to think I wasn't doing yoga because I couldn't touch my toes, but now it's just, no, that's yoga. I'm present to what is. I'm not trying to do his yoga or her yoga or be... This is me. This is now. This is what my yoga is.
Yeah.
This is what this movement looks like over here now. I'm not...
Yeah.
Just being...
more gentle, and how it feels as well, I think, is so important, and also how it becomes what would you call it? It becomes a real access point into your relationship with yourself, which is what you're saying, I think, and how we all talk to ourselves and how we treat ourselves. If you can't touch your toes, are you berating yourself and then punishing yourself for it, or are you letting it go? Are you accepting it? Are you kind of encouraging yourself what you can do? And I think that's another really amazing part of, or another reason why I love movement, the practice of it, is it opens up that dialogue that you have with yourself, and then where you see, where else do I repeat that in my life, and how am I treating myself, and then how am I treating other people, and how is it all relating to each other? So yeah, there's something amazing that happens when you come out of your head and you just get back into your body and you move about, even if you are just dancing about like a bit of a numpty. Like I think it's a good thing to do. I think it's a really great thing to do. Yeah. And you meditate as well, right?
Oh, I do. Yeah, on here. But no, I do. Yeah, I've been doing little guided ones on here, but I do my own little practice every day. Yeah. Which is really simple. It's nothing I haven't talked about on here before, but I just sit. I just sit, and I've studied every sort of system and form of that there is over the last 30 years.
Right. Okay.
Christ, longer. I was doing, and now I kind of see through forms, if that makes sense, to the essence of the thing, to the thing that links them all together. And
right. Okay.
And that's what I kind of practice here. And how about yourself? Do you do that? Do you sit?
I do. Yeah. So just what do you mean by that? That you're able to drop the concept of things?
Yes.
So that you see, we're about to get very esoteric here.
No, that's fine. That's fine, mate. Yeah, no, this is just, we're going to talk how we talk. And
Well, like someone like Sam Harris. Do you know Sam Harris?
mm,
So I think he would say something, if I'm remember correctly. I think he would say something like that. You sort of start to, you drop the concepts. You become sort of, you go pre-concept to things.
yes.
And you come out of the dual reality and it becomes
into the non-dual, where all there is what's happening now.
Yeah. That's
and
really
there's no I'm not trying to claim enlightenment or anything like that.
No,
there's no these words right now. Like at the start of this chat, I was, adjusting things and I was trying to make it right. But now I'm in this. I've gone into a slightly different state where words are coming out of silence into. Does that make sense? I'm not. I'm more relaxed now, and I've dropped a lot of the. I hope it's nice. I hope people like it. That's all gone. It's just me talking to you now on this, and it's it's just, there's nothing here. It's kind of, it's not empty. It's not empty and it's not full. It's empty fullness is the best way I've heard it described.
Right, yeah.
Where you're not, there's no separation. I don't live in that state, but it comes and it goes. I've met people that live in that state. I can't do that yet. Because I can't do that because I is what's in the way of it.
No, but do you really think people do live in that state? Live permanently in that state? I
don't know. I've met a couple of people that I think, if not all the time, at least most of it.
Really?
Yeah, not many though.
How do they get anything done?
And it's I don't know if that's desirable. I imagine it is.
How do you get anything done? Like, how do you do your laundry?
Well, no, because this is the thing. When you see stuff still happens, but it doesn't happen. There's not a person. The washing up still gets done. And emotions still happen. You still get upset. Someone dies, you still feel the pain. Someone dumps you, it's still, but the pain isn't happening to an individual. It's what's happening. It's not. There's not a separate me feeling the pain. There's just the pain.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Rather than a separate little man inside. I got this pain. Telling a story about it. Oh, no one understands what I'm going through.
Yeah.
No, that's gone. There's just the pain. There's just a sensation. There's just a happening.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
You are. I misunderstood you a little bit. I thought you meant.
So I don't mean you do turn into a featureless blank that sits there and I've seen that, and that's all kinds of wrong.
That's what I thought you meant, but no.
I was at a monastery in Vietnam, and we were showing these meditators, and there was these people, they meditate for 18 hours a day, and they were all sat rigid still meditating 18 hours a day straight. And I just thought, well, that's not living. That's a junkie. That's someone that's in denial. That's someone who's doesn't want to get engaged in life and is going to spend their whole life sat on a cushion watching them. Oh, they're in a very high spiritual state. Are they?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, actually,
what is the difference between
that? They're blanking everything out. They're hiding.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's about meditation in action. I think it's about...
That's what Dad Stephen used to say.
Yeah.
To talk about, really. That was his thing. Yeah, meditation in action. That was what he was always on about.
Someone phrased it to me recently. The idea is that sort of meditation is that being all there is what is. That's the natural state. That's the, rather than it being you're normally a person and occasionally you sit down and meditate, then you go back to being a person. That meditation state is the normal state. And occasionally you turn into a small person again when something catches you, but then you return to the natural state of what is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I would say that would be the natural rather than the normal, right?
Yeah.
It's actually
it's not special. That's the other thing.
Yeah, right. It's actually something I've been thinking about quite a lot recently. I wrote something on Monday, and I'm writing another bit that follows on from it for the next thing I write. And it's exactly that. It's exactly what you're saying. I think that natural state is about stripping everything that isn't essential, or everything that isn't what is the word? Taking that away, and then just what's left is
You're back. Yeah, you froze for a bit. You're back now, though. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like, the idea of stripping away what's superfluous, and then whatever's left is just is.
Yeah.
And I often find it's not about I'm not trying to impose any kind of characteristic of myself on the moment or on myself I'm not trying, like, if I try and impose some kind of part of my personality on myself, okay, now I really must be courageous and I've got to be confident now. I'm never confident or courageous, but if I just can strip away all of that shit, that story that's going on in the front of of here, all that narrative, if I can strip that away, then what I'm left with is just the moment, and therefore there's nothing to be courageous or confident for, or because of, or whatever. It's just that kind of goes out the window, and therefore I can be present, and I can be confident. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. It's not about attaining anything.
No.
You know, that's what most people make. They think it's about getting something, or about getting, you know, a special state or a special, and it's not. It's just natural, and it's ordinary, and it's this, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But ordinary, yeah.
Yeah. But that the word mundane, it means worldly, doesn't it? And it's come to mean sort of standard and bog standard and boring. But actually, it's the complete opposite. It's like, what is more miraculous than this planet we're on, spinning in infinite nothingness with a massive fireball in the sky, and billions and billions of galaxies and stars and everything else? I mean, isn't that pretty fucking miraculous? And that is the mundane. That literally is the mundane. And the air we breathe, and everything that's going on, and all the colours and everything, even the traffic and everything. It's all like, sometimes, don't you find sometimes it's like, wow, this is actually all amazing. Even the shit, even like the ugly shit, this is all kind of amazing.
It's incredible, all of it. I remember, I didn't understand him before. A comedian called Craig Campbell, who's very knows what's going on, you know. And he was explaining to me once, you've got to be able to see God in shit. You've literally got to be able to see God in shit. And, you know, and I totally get what he means. It's, and when you see that there's no separation as well between, everything becomes, everything is supporting everything else. Everything is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all, when you really see how it's all connected.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I had it the other day in the woods. I was looking at this. I was doing a thing where I look at the sky, but just looking into the sky, and it's there all the time. It's just the sky, you know. But it goes off into infinity. It has no beginning or end. We're floating in the middle. We're floating in it. It's just this incredible expansiveness, and no one seems to notice. They're all just sort of walking around, tweeting and.
Yeah, which is also part of the miraculous.
Which is also part of the, yes, that's also as miraculous as anything else.
Yeah.
The idea that I can be talking to my phone, I'm talking to you on the other side of London, I'm guessing you're in now, yeah?
Yeah.
You know.
Have you ever done any psychedelic drugs? Can I ask you that on this?
You can ask me that on this. On occasion, Jake, I might have imbibed.
Yeah. Well, because that's huh?
A lot.
Right. Okay. I mean, I've done a little bit, but not a huge amount. But I mean, that is what you're describing is the experience. I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but that sense of oneness is exactly that, isn't it? Of infinite connection and like everything that ever has been and everything that ever will be and everything. It just all just is. Like it's all just connected and is. And that feeling is. It kind of stops you in your tracks when you come back out of it into this down from that peak down to back to here. It's like, okay, that kind of gives me a little bit of a new frame of reference.
Yeah. What have you done?
Ayahuasca.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
How was that?
This time last year, actually, it was incredible. It was really arduous, but it was really, really important. I feel like it was a really important thing for me to do. And yeah, it was a trial. It was a real fucking trial. A physical, emotional. I was surprised at how physical it all was.
Right.
But it was amazing. Really, truly, deeply amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Was this in Peru or somewhere? Or
It was with Peruvian shamans, but it was actually in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was so it was really amazing. I mean, I don't have anything to compare it to other than what other people told me, but to be part of their tradition, to do it in their kind of traditional shamanic ceremonial way was really helped. Actually, it wasn't just sort of it wasn't to be taken lightly. There was a real reverence there, and that definitely helped the whole experience. But yeah, it'll be quite a long time before I do it again, because it's just such a full-on experience. The whole thing, the preparation for it, all of it. I mean, the ceremonies, there were 4 of them. I think they were about 5 or 6 hours. It's a long, long time.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, incredible. I would recommend it to anyone. Well, at least I'd recommend it to anyone who's interested in finding out more. I'd recommend finding out more. Have you ever done it?
I've done the closest I've done. I haven't done ayahuasca. The closest I've done is I did a toad venom ceremony. Which was that's the most powerful one I've done, because that had no mercy.
Right.
The other ones I've done, it's been wonderful, and I've learned a lot, and I've seen a lot, and a lot has been revealed, and etc. etc. But I've always known that I was me having an experience.
Right. Okay.
It was more content in consciousness.
Yeah.
And it was the same as this is content in consciousness.
Yeah.
It was just different content in
Yeah.
It was still content in the awareness was still, but the toad venom one, that was a proper, that chose, not me. That decided what was going to happen.
Right. Okay.
It was 10 minutes long, but there was no time. So I don't know how long. It didn't feel. I can't describe it. I can try and describe it if you want me to, but it was because nothing happened. There was no vision. There was no gods appeared. Nothing. I literally we sat in a circle. It was with a shaman. Did all the little prayers, etc. And I went last. They were smoking this stuff, and I went last. And everyone started, took their hit, and then they were doing all this stuff. And one guy was singing, and one guy. I've got a very funny ayahuasca story about your dad. Actually, I'll tell you in a minute. I don't know if you know it, but it was very funny. Everyone's doing all this, and it got to me, and I took the breath, and then nothing. Nothing, seriously. And I'm like looking at them, and I'm looking at the guy like, what's the crack, mate? And he goes, and I'm like, yeah, it's not working. Took another hit on it, and then it was still nothing. A little bit stoned feeling, but nothing like what they seem to be experiencing. And then he went, one more, but hold it in. And I'm like, whatever, yeah, I'm going to do what they did. Fair enough, So I held it in, breathed it out, still nothing. I went to say nothing, and it went, I remember him disappearing down. And the last thing I saw was him waving at me as I closed my eyes. But this is what I closed my eyes, and this is what happened. I disappeared. I don't mean that I went numb. I mean, I literally felt my legs disappearing and my arms disappearing and then my head, everything disappearing. And then all I was thoughts in nothing. I mean nothing. And I didn't even know. I remember the thought. It was sort of like, am I breathing? Because I had no reference. But when you close your eyes, you know where your lungs are. You can feel there's nothing. I had no reference point as to where I was in space. There was nothing to. And then the thoughts started to disappear. They were the last thing to go. And the last thought was, oh, this is what happens when you die. And then there was just nothing. And just the most profound nothing. And that's the only way I can describe it. There were no reference points. So there was no time. It could have been 6 million years. It could have been 30 seconds. Because there was no, it started here and ended there. There was no time. And there was no up or down or side. There was just nothing. Was
there no fear?
No fear, no nothing. But there was something. What there was this pure awareness. Just this pure presence is the way I can describe it. And then it's when it started coming back, the body started coming back, the thoughts started to come back. It was like the awareness was being refilled with content, with a body, with thoughts, with ideas, with objects. It all kind of reformed out the nothing. But that's remained with me, that sense of there's the presence behind the objects. That's never gone away.
Mm. Yeah, there's definitely some really valuable stuff to be found with psychedelics, isn't there? I mean, obviously, I think it's something they are absolutely to be respected and not fucked with, just sort of frivolously. But there's definitely some deep, deep wisdom there, I feel.
Mm. No, I don't regret any of my experience. Even the dark ones, I don't regret. I've had a couple of ones that have been a bit, but I don't regret them. They're always something.
Yeah.
But I do also believe you can do it without them. I believe that it is just this. It's
yeah, absolutely.
You know, they're not for everyone either. I don't.
No, you're right. I just think people might be missing out. But no, you're right. They're not.
I know you're right. No, yeah, I used to think that. But if you've got any doubts about it, don't do it. As well, if you, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't regret any of my experiences at all.
Yeah.
But there is a deep, profound, especially. I mean, I've not done. I would love to try what you did. Your dad told me a story one time. He was in Ibiza. Stop me if you've heard this before. But he was in this ayahuasca group, and the guy that was running it was a prat. He wasn't a master shaman. He was just a guy that had done a lot of ayahuasca and had some, and was trying to lead the group. This guy. So they've all drunk this foul-tasting brew, and your dad's drunk it. And they're all having this weird thing. And your dad's just sitting there. And let's not pretend he was a stranger to the psychedelics thing. So he's sitting having his experience. And the shaman comes over and starts shaking a rustle, a rattle in his face. Going, ooh. So at the moment, I'm trying to have my, like that. So the guy was going around the room and he was beating the drum and all this. And everyone's going like this. And going mad and singing and whoa! And your dad just went, I'm off balls to this. So he got up and he was having the experience. It was happening. And he got to the door and the guy, the shaman goes, no, don't leave. Stay. It will happen. Just trust and it will happen. And your dad went, I know it's happening. It is happening. You're just pissing me off and they're getting on my nerves. And everyone sort of stopped their thing and looked at him like that. And he got to the door and he said he stopped at the door and turned back and looked at him and went, have none of you dropped acid? And just turned and walked out and shut the door and walked home, having this ayahuasca experience just on his own, walking home.
Yeah, he wasn't one for etiquette, was he?
He was not one for etiquette, no.
No.
I love that story. They're all stopping and looking at him and him just walking home on ayahuasca like he's had a cup of green tea. Yeah. And just strolling back to his place in Ibiza.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you? You miss it, right?
Every day. Yeah. Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big loss, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously for you. I mean, I'm not trying to,
No. Yeah. 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 No. I went on your. I told you earlier, I went on your Instagram page and I saw the little clip of you doing the card trick with him. It was just so lovely to hear his laugh again.
That was the last night I saw him.
Was it really?
That was the last night about we did that, and then he left here about 2 hours after we filmed that. And that was the last time I got to say bye.
Weird though, his face looked weird in that, don't you think?
Yeah, well he was
like he looked close to death. He looked like he just wasn't himself.
Yeah, it was the first time I've ever seen him. He was always a golden man. He was always glowing. He radiated like a heat when and he was always vital and he never looked his age. He never presented his age ever. And that last time I saw him, he was moving slow. And he just looked tired. And he was on his way back to Spain not that night or the next day. He was heading for Spain. He was heading to wherever he was staying the night before. And he came round and he used to come round here and this room. I'm looking at the chair he sat in right now, just there. and he played guitar with. I live with Byron, who plays the guitar, and they had a little jam in here, which was quite lovely to see. And he hung out, and we got some Chinese in and had a laugh and everything, just like we normally did. And then I hugged him at the door, and that was it. Watched him go. No idea that was the last time I was going to see him. Thought I was going to see him in a week. And now we're in this weird situation. This is the longest I've been without speaking to him since the day I met him 27 years ago. I speak to him twice a week normally.
Yeah.
See him about 3 or 4 times a month.
Yeah.
Also, someone's asking his name. His name was Stephen Russell, Mr. Kubaba, the Barefoot Doctor we're talking about. How are you?
What about him? About my dad?
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm all right. Yeah, like on the whole, I'm fine. I'm not sort of in a mess. I'm not like in a puddle of mess or whatever over it. But yeah, I have moments where I think, fuck, I'm never going to speak to him again. Like, I'm never. And I've obviously with the whole COVID-19 pandemic, I wanted to speak to him. I wanted to hear what he would have had to have said about it. I wanted to, every so often I want to call him and ask him what he reckons. Like, what do you think about all this? And just hear his voice, and yeah, it's I don't know. I've kind of gone wordless. I mean, I miss him. Of course, I miss him. But I think what I started feeling a couple of weeks after we did that, or maybe it was sooner after we had the memorial for him. So I went through all sorts of emotions. I think with anyone, when you lose anyone who's really close to you, I guess you go through, you don't just, I felt angry with him. I felt all sorts of stuff, and I just, at some point after the memorial, I just felt really grateful to him. I just felt like really, really grateful that he was my dad. And he wasn't the best dad by any stretch, he wasn't some fantasy semi-deity figure. He definitely had his faults like everyone. But I feel really, really grateful that he was my dad, and that he taught us both directly and inadvertently. He taught us some really amazing stuff, and I don't know that everyone is as fortunate as that. I don't know that everyone is fortunate enough to have someone who, in one respect, is so honest, so. Like, like that walking out of the ayahuasca thing that you just talked about, that's just like pure honesty in one way. It's like,
I've never known anyone, yeah.
It's not like, there's no pretense. And that could be really brutal. To be on the receiving end of that could be really brutal. But there's
I saw that. I saw him do it. I was, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he taught us, when I say us, I mean, Joe and Michael and I, my brothers and I, obviously everyone that he was friends with and close with, I'm sure he had an effect on. But he really taught us some brilliant, invaluable stuff, and that I just feel grateful. That's really my overriding feeling when I think about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a hell of a day, that, wasn't it? The service was a beautiful. Well, that was.
It was a full-on day. It was a bit. Someone got in touch with me actually. Really lovely guy, a friend of Stephen's, just the other day, a couple of days ago, and he said he came up and introduced himself to me, and I just had no recollection because that day was just such a blur, like not a blur, such a dreamy, strange day. But thank you for hosting it. Thank you for.
Oh no, not please, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking me. No, that was an honour. That was a yeah. I think the whole thing was just beautiful. The music was beautiful, and it was just such a wonderful happening.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
The way it all came together, and then
yeah, it was perfect for him. It was a perfect way to say goodbye.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the important people were there. You know, you could see the figures from the story. It was a wonderful story to be. The saddest, the moment, one of the moments. There were so many, but one of the ones for me was, you know, Vanessa was there with the monsieur, and she just said to me at the end, the last thing she said to me before she left, she went, in that way she just went, well, this is the final chapter, isn't it? Of Marlborough Mansions. And well, yeah, it is, because I said, I'm never going to see her again. This is, why would I, you know, this is it. All those characters and all that adventure and all that stuff that happened. And, you know, she just went, this is the end of Marlborough Mansions, isn't it? And I went, yeah. And she went, well, thanks for being a part of it. And I went, well, thanks for having me. And she gave me a hug, and off she went. And that was like a real moment of, for some weird reason, that was the moment of closure. I don't know why, but just her saying that's the end of that then, you know. Yeah. But not in a maudlin way, in a kind of, you know.
Yeah.
The monsieur behind her in his way, kind of nodding, and then off they put him on his little hat, and off they went together.
Yeah. There was always such a cast of characters, wasn't there? With Stephen. There was always such a cast of characters. Yeah. Yeah. Danny, I'm going to have to go shortly because I wanted to tell you this is way past my normal bedtime.
Oh, I apologise. I only do this hour because
don't be sorry. I actually wanted to say right at the beginning. I wanted to say a disclaimer if I just end up talking shit because I'm tired. I'm normally in bed by about 9 o'clock.
That you've not done. Have you got 5 minutes to take any questions from the
that's
floor?
What I was going to say. Yeah, definitely.
Let's do that, and then So who's got any questions about any of the topics covered here this evening? I'll have a quick scan through the comments to see if there are any questions. There's some lovely comments in the chat. I can't deal with them all now because of the... Oh, where have I gone? Am I still there?
You're a black screen.
I'm a black... Can you hear me, though?
Yeah.
I'm a black screen. I don't know why. So ask your questions. I'm still here, and I'll try and work out what's happened there. Or shall I end this and jump back on? Right, I don't know what's happened. I've done something here, going through the comments. I've disappeared. There I am. Right, excellent. Someone's asked, is Jake writing a book? Because he should.
Is that not my brother?
That's Mike, I think.
Is that my brother asking it? Yeah, well, actually, in all seriousness, just before Dad died, about a month before he died, him and I had a bit of a not an argument, but we just had a bit of a thing, and I called him up and apologized to him and told him the reason why, and it ended up being this really lovely conversation where I was just really honest with him about how I find myself, and I'm with him when we're with other people, I just find myself getting really like competitive with him. I just want to tell him just shut up with your shit. Always fucking going on about your shit. Just shut up. And I told him that, and he laughed.
Really quick, Jake, because this is going to shut us off in about in a couple of seconds. If it does, we'll just jump back on again to finish off this last little bit.
Okay.
So if it disappears, because you get an hour, then it cuts you off.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it might do it any second. If it does, we'll jump straight back on and then just finish off the last couple of minutes.
Okay.
And then, okay, just in case that happens, I do apologise for cutting you off.
Don't worry. And we said on that conversation that it was just such a lovely conversation that he said it was so interesting that we were kind of both being very honest with each other. He said, why don't we write a book together about the relationship between fathers and sons, because it is such a formative, powerful relationship. And we had decided that's what we were going to do at some point. And I was meant to actually be with him the day he died. I was actually going to be in Spain, and he was going to teach me some Tai Chi. And I'm sure that weekend we would have talked a little bit more about the book. But I'm thinking about how I can possibly